Thank God it's Friday, another edition to talk sport on Dominion Sport on your darling station, Dominion Television channel of choice. The weekend is upon us, and we are here to talk sport, all things sport, from the local stories to Formula One. Also, let me inform you that the world of transfer is ever buzzing, ever blazing. Leandro Garnacho is set to make a move to Chelsea. The medical is going to happen today. Also, we're looking at the games that are packed up for the weekend in the Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, the Serie A, and also the German Bundesliga. All this and more on Dominion Sport this morning. I am Abe Paul Toluwanimi, and I have Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted reports. Good morning to you. Nice to have you in the studio this morning.
Well, good morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be here again. Today being Friday, of course, they say weekends are for actions. Of course, Mondays are for reactions. Of course, we are into the era of actions now. Of course, from the evening, we'll be having a lot of games going down in all the leagues around the world. Of course, Saturday and Sunday. It's all the same thing. But most definitely, we'll be back on Monday to tell you how that went out. But before we'll talk about Monday, we'll talk about now. There are so many things to talk about, and as we do say on this show, we'll tell you this is where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reporters. So sit back, relax. There's a lot to talk about in the world of transfer, and most definitely the local league.
All right. Yesterday, we gave a report yesterday, surprising about the current happenings in the world of sport, and actually we picked the report from the NYG. Yes, that's the National Youth Games. We gave that report of 6,382 athletes already registered, but we got a report as at yesterday night that no water, no lights, poor accommodation. It's looking like a big eyesore, for this competition. It looks like Delta are not ready, to accommodate these people. But I just wanted to give a highlight of that because that story is in the news this wonderful morning. But before that, let's look at the fixtures for the MPFL for this weekend. Let's look at the fixtures for the MPFL this weekend, and we have our darling, Shooting Stars are going to be in action also this weekend. Yes, sir, if you can have that displayed. All right, thank you. We have Bendel Insurance against Shooting Stars. We have Kano Pillars against Wiki Tories. We have Plateau United against Castina United. We have Warri Wolves against Rangers Internationals. We have Rivers United against Kwara United. We have Bayelsa United against Barwa FC. We have Eyimba against Niger Tornadoes. We have Nasarawa United against Abia Warriors. And we have Ikorodu City welcoming El Kanemi Warriors. And also, Kun Khalifat are going to play Remo Stars on Monday. For you, I'm sure our focus is going to be on the big game, Remo Stars away from home. We're going to look into that also. But what game are you looking at, for the weekend in the MPFL?
Well, I will be really particular about the match that concerns Rivers United. Of course, Kwara United will be paying them a visit. I'm more particular about that because these are two teams that most likely, you will see on the continent. Rivers United finished, runners-up in the league last season, and Kwara United got the ticket by winning, the club competition right there. So these are two teams who will consider they have to slug it out for who is superior. But most definitely on the log last season, Rivers United showed Kwara United they were no match. But I think there's something that comes with you knowing you will be playing on the continent that automatically makes you feel like a big team. I think that will play out, for Kwara United. But then, let's see what happens in that game between Rivers and Kwara United. There's a lot to play for in that, especially for Pride.
All right, talking about Pride, I know we're still going to talk about Shooting Stars game, on Saturday. The other games this weekend on Sunday, we just have away from home. It's going to be Bendel Insurance and Shooting Stars. We're going to come to that. But let's take stories from Kun Khalifat. Kun Khalifat have adopted the Yimba Stadium as their temporary home ground due to ongoing renovation works at the Dan and Anyam Stadium. They will host their league matches on Friday and Saturday. Their weekend fixtures against Remo Stars have been rescheduled to Monday. Also on the news that is coming from Rivers United head coach Finidi George has declared his team's readiness to contest for the title once again this season. The Port Harcourt side lost to Remo Stars last season on a fierce fight. Finidi side opened their 2025-2026 campaign with a 1-1 draw against Olders at the Moshood Abiola Sport Arena at Abeokuta last Friday. Rivers United will be against Kwara United in match day 2 encounter at the Adekoye Stadium right there in Port Harcourt. And Finidi George declared his team will push hard for the title after disappointment of last season. And he's saying we are not scared of any team this season. We will play our best football and hopefully we will get the result we deserve. That's coming from Coach Finidi George. And also we're going to report about Kun Khalifat having to move to a new ground.
Well, it's becoming a trend now for all the teams in the MPFL who fail to prepare. And of course, as we do say, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. So it's, you know, this is just testament to what we have always said and hammered upon that. You know, look, the MPFL is not just, you know, your toy ground. It's not a place you come and then you start doing test running. You must be really prepared for what you are, you know, coming into, and that is the case of some teams that we have seen, you know, having to adopt other stadiums, except for the fact that, you know, Remo Stars, you know, stadium has always been, you know, but then they just decided like, oh, at this time, we need to do an upgrade, and it's fine. So for other teams like Kun Khalifat, I just feel like they weren't prepared, and when the hammer actually fell on them to actually, you know, do an upgrade, that's why we are seeing some of them rushing into doing it now. It's a good one that they're actually doing at this time of the season. At least they know they still have a lot to play for going down the line. So it's an interesting one. And Coach Finidi George also, you know, making some promises, saying, look, we are here to contest for the league. We are here to, you know, give it our all and see if we can actually win once again. It's an interesting one. They came close last season.
Yes. Just 10 points. Just 10 point difference. Yeah.
Well, I won't say, there's nothing like just 10 points.
Okay, 10 points.
You are not close, you are not close. Since you have not won, you are just not the winner. So 10 points is right. If it actually went to the wire and then they had to, you know, fight over the last game of the season, I would have said, oh, they were really close. But at this point, they were beaten hands down. Remo Stars beat them to it, and you have to give Remo Stars their flowers. I mean, how many times do you see in the MPFL where a team actually wins with such margin? I mean, so it's an interesting one. But really, I think Rivers United are ready. Coach Finidi George knows exactly what he wants to do. They got a draw in the first game of the season against the defending champions. 1-0 it ended. Victor Bauma getting the goal for Remo Stars. And, you know, as it stands, these are two experienced coaches. As a football player, Finidi George is experienced, knows how to, you know, work with players, especially ones who really want to improve. For Coach Daniel Ogumorede, he has been around for some time at Remo Stars. He saw the team through, you know, their rough patches, and of course to where they are now. He has been consistent. There was a time he had to travel abroad to actually gain more experience as senior. It's you know, his development is not just a thing you find out of the blue. He was really consistent about it. He learned on the job. And you can't take that away from him. So these two coaches are, you know, they are one of the best you find in the MPFL right now. But for Rivers United, let's see how, you know, the next 10 games of the MPFL actually pans out. Because if you are playing on the continent, it's really difficult to compete in the MPFL too. Because you have to, sometimes your games you have to be on, you know, suspended games, or you play later. We call it outstanding games. You have so many outstanding games because you have to be traveling out of the country to execute away games in the CAF competition. So, for me, it will be difficult to actually win those games when you are playing them as outstanding games, because most of these teams are well rested, but you were busy while you were traveling. So true. It's going to be difficult a little bit, but I just hope that they have enough, you know, weapons in their arsenal. They have enough players, you know, of good quality, not just having players in their numbers, but then good quality players who can actually come in and make a difference when they are called upon. That will help them.
Amazing. All right, that's the story from Rivers United. Yes, coach Finidi George is the name of the coach of Rivers United. All right, let's take stories from Remo Stars going away from home to Bendel Insurance. How do you see this one pan out for Coach Nurudeen? Where we remember the last game on their own turf, they lost. This is the second game. Also, I think most of the fans have given them maybe a 5-game, breather, the 10 games, trial. Let's see what you can bring to the squad. But do you think going away, to Bendel Insurance can give them the much needed 3 points going into the season?
You see, these are two traditional teams in the MPFL. Remo Stars, Bendel Insurance, been around for a long time. Shooting Stars, the records are there for you to check. They have been a mainstay in the league, save for the fact that they had to be relegated a couple of times. But they are back, and if you look at the current situation, I think they recruited so many players. I think for Bendel Insurance, they also got a few players, but it has always been a stiff competition between these two teams in recent times, because aside from playing for the 3 points, they play for pride too. Yeah. Because they are two teams you will talk about. We are talking about traditional teams in the MPFL as we speak. They are they are more or less like the top 5 teams you will talk about. So it's going to be a tough test for Shooting Stars, especially for the fact that they have a new set of players. Yeah. Majority of the players in the team are new. But I want to commend Shooting Stars for something they are doing this season. They know that it's a new team, new coach, so they got a lot of quality players. The only thing that is missing is the synergy between these players. They have not played together for that long. It will be difficult for the coach to determine which of these players will make the starting 11
in the early hours of the season.
But something played out in the last game, which they played at home against I think Bayelsa United. They, in the first half, he was able to pinpoint where the mistakes was going to be, and early in the second half too, he made some changes. And there was a little bit of stability from the 60th minute. There was a little bit of stability in that team, which I expect him to take into the next game. These players that were on the field of play as at the 60th and 65th minute of the game against Bayelsa United, I think you should give them a chance to be the starters against Bayelsa United. They were a little bit stable, because most of them were players who actually played for Shooting Stars last season or the season before. Ada Obame Jr., they had Alex Agawa, Gbolagade Adelowo, Gali Fauke, and maybe should reintroduce Mustafa Lawal, Spider. He was the saving grace for Shooting Stars last season. Save for that, it probably would have finished somewhere lower than that. Yeah, true. So if he brings Mustafa Lawal back in the team, maintain the same defensive lineup except for the left back where Utin can actually fit in. And then let's see how that pans out. Then there's a weak link in that defense, which I saw, which is Al-Amin, who paired Gbolagade Adelowo and that team. Maybe a more matured central defender will do. But in midfield, Alex Agawa was introduced in the second half. And Ayobame Jr., who they call Agba, was also, but there was a little bit of stability there.
So you feel that this stability would help,
it would help them. You should just stick with, Ismail, on the left wing.
Left wing, okay.
Because there was a mistake the coach made. I think it's a tactical move that backfired.
Actually.
That he made in the game against Bayelsa United. He played him on the right in the first half, and in the second half he was played on the left, and that was when people actually saw. In fact, a lot of people called for his replacement in the first half. Just take this guy off already. But when he moved to the left, nobody dare say it on that stand that you should take him off, because it was the only shining light, on that wing, flank, because the left back was more or less like a weak link. He committed too many corner kicks and that actually mounted pressure on the team. He could have actually saved that. Utin would have been a more preferable option, but he was more of a two-footed player, so probably that's why the coach trusted him with that position. But Utin would have done better in that area. But against Bayelsa United, I see Shooting Stars coming out in a different light. Maybe they are going to play a different kind of football. Yes, they kept the ball on the ground against Bayelsa, And I think they will do the same against, the Bendel Insurance and the insurance boys, as they call them. So I think they are going to do better in that game. Right. I don't see them winning, but I see them at least getting a point away from home.
A point away from home is what you're going for Shooting Stars. For you watching us at home, what are your predictions for Darling Shooting Stars Football Club going away to play Bendel Insurance? All right, let's have the picture coming through right now. It's a dark picture being displayed of the NUJ game. No water, no power, no birds. The athletes endure harsh conditions as Asaba Youth game. Serious concerns that have emerged over the state of preparation in Delta State at the 9th National Youth Game. Now the picture actually is a very dark picture with just a bulb. That's to show that they could not even capture. This. So if there was enough light, you would have seen, would have seen a better picture. But they could not even get us a better picture of what is actually going on with the situation in Delta State, it caused for serious concerns. The widespread criticism just days before its official opening. Delegations from at least 6 states have reported substandard living conditions, poor welfare provisions, and unsafe infrastructures at the Games Village in Asaba, where over 6,300 young athletes are expected to compete. Athletes from Jigawa, Yobe, Osun, Edo, Benin, and the Federal Capital Territory who arrived on the 26th of August and 27th have been accommodated at the Anglican Girls College right there. However, a report indicates that the facility is far from ready, with no electricity, no running water, inadequate sanitation 2 days after their arrival. Also, they complained that most of these athletes are even age 15. So how do you put them in such condition is the question all these delegates are asking. A member of the local organizing committee reportedly asked the state officials to contribute funds to fuel the generator, promising only 3 hours of power as supplying during the night. Meanwhile, construction work at key venues remains incomplete. A delegation official confirmed that painting of stadium gates only commenced on Thursday afternoon and the other renovations are still ongoing. If facilities are not ready, why did both Delta State government and National Sports Commission allow the event to proceed is the question. Honestly speaking, the story, I can keep reading, more and more and more of this total. I'm trying to look for the word right now because it's not giving a credibility to Nigeria as a whole. And also the question is, if you are not ready, why did you pick up yourself to say you are going to host, the whole state for this game? Is the question. And also, the commissions also, before you pick a state, you should look at everything. Are they ready? Are they ready to host everybody coming in? You're talking of 6,385 athletes altogether. And at this point in time, we're still having issues like this: accommodation, no light, no water, no provisions available. They are still painting some venues, some venues are still under renovation. Come on, Samson.
You see, the challenge I have with organizing bodies in Nigeria is the fact that they always think they have time until they realize they don't have time. I mean, time waits for no one.
It waits for no man. And
when you look at, sporting bodies in the country, I think they are also culpable in this national disgrace we are seeing. Because we've seen it happen at CAF level before, when a competition is to be hosted by a country, and then at the point they felt like, their facilities will not be ready in time, and then it's shifted. I think South Africa has benefited, a lot of times. Morocco has benefited too. I think Tunisia at one point also benefited that a country was to host a competition, and then they felt like, you will not be ready in time for this competition. Let's just move to a country that has ready-made facility for this. So it happens a lot of time, and it's I just feel like you have decided to bring athletes to the Games Village just to put them in a very bad situation. I mean, it's really sad that we are even getting to see this. I thought for one, I thought, you know, we have gotten to that stage where we will not be seeing this kind of
No,
news.
we should not be seeing
I
this.
mean, it's not just a state competition, it's a national competition.
Yeah.
And then you are not even ready. Imagine you trying to host 6,000 people.
Come on.
Like, I mean, more than that, but at least 6,000 people have registered. And these are even kids. They are not adults. So how do you expect them to fend for themselves? I'm sure that states, maybe if they have 10 children or maybe 20, it will just be one person that will be put as custodian to be in custody of these children. How do you think that person will be able to manage all these children when you have not even provided what you are meant to provide? Now, I'm not going to blame the state government. I'm going to blame those who have been saddled with the responsibility of organizing, the competition. It's really sad that at this point, when this news broke, someone still has his job. Because at this time, someone should be fired. That the government has been kept in the dark over this. Because you will see sycophants, praise singers telling the governor, oh, we are ready, 100%.
Everything is set and come on.
And then that also preaches, something we call, as a governor, you must collect receipts. When you have given someone a responsibility to carry out a job, you also collect receipts. Have you been there? Do you have other people that you call the monitoring committee that actually goes to places to where, is this thing being done properly? I mean, is the timing, is it correct? A project is currently going on in here, and there's a time frame, and the contractor is meeting up with the time frame already. So that tells you that there's supervision. So if a job has been given to you and you say, oh, just like a fashion designer, oh, don't worry, in the next 1 week you get your job, and you get there after 2 weeks and the person says it's not ready. So that shows as a person, you are not serious as a business person. So why are you there? So someone should have resigned at this time, and that is the culture of I must be there that we practice in Nigeria. You have failed as a person. What are you still doing? Someone else should come on board and make changes. So it's a disaster that we are seeing this, and I just hope that something happened at the sports festival in Ogun when some people claimed that the allowances were not being paid. And immediately the Ogun State governor had to swing into action, called whoever was in charge, make payments now. Even though some say the payment was not what they agreed, but it was made immediately. That is what you should be saying. But then right now, the atmosphere is so cool. Honestly, that it felt like
it looks like it's the norm.
It's not really a big deal.
Yes, I think the problem now is the fact that it's the norm.
Failure is a norm in the sporting sector. But we are beginning to see changes, but we want to see, a wholesome change in that sector. So if there's anyone that has been given an ultimatum to get something achieved in 2 weeks, and in 1 week you are not even close to achieving it, you should be taken off the job.
Honestly, but I agree with that.
We are not monitoring things, and that's why we see, an array of failures, in all areas. But I just hope that, something is done, because this amounts to national disgrace.
Honestly, it's pure national disgrace, nothing more than that. I think that's the word, I think I was looking for to use on the show. Poor national disgrace is what we are seeing right now, because, if you have a 15-year-old athlete come and there are no beds, there are no water, no provisions for them, I think it's not so good to, to behold, and we hope that things can be done properly going forward. Moving away from that, let's head straight down to Chan. Let's head straight down to Chan and let's see the games for the final. Finally, we're going to have Madagascar against Morocco. That's a massive one on Saturday. And for you, how do you see this game pan out? Actually, if we have that display on the screen, let's look at the road to the final for both teams, for Morocco and also for Madagascar, so that we can look at how far they have come to stage a big claim in the final for themselves. For Morocco, yes, they had to play Angola. Also, they had Kenya. Yes, they lost to Kenya, actually. They lost to Kenya. Also, they had Zambia. They have Congo in the quarterfinal stage. That's the final. Let's have the road to the final for Morocco. All right, yeah, there you have it. And also, they have DR Congo They have Tanzania, and they had to battle it out in the semi-final against Senegal that went to a penalty shootout. Also, let's see the road to the final for Madagascar been displayed on the screen. Yes, they had that one also against Mauritania, that one also against Tanzania. So not an easy battle for all these teams right there to the road to the final. But right now, the final is going to be Madagascar against the big guns, Morocco. For you, how do you see this game pan out for Morocco and Madagascar, and what do you think as getting the victory in the final?
You know, it's always difficult when you play against a team that has nothing to lose, and that is Madagascar for me. So many people, you know, underrated that team from the group stage. In fact, a country like Nigeria actually thought, oh, if we defeat Madagascar and we defeat Sudan, oh, we'll be in the next phase. And unfortunately, Nigeria is home, Madagascar is in the final. So it's
when you say Madagascar to people, it looks like you are going for tourists. Maybe you may just want to go for sightseeing or something.
You see, there used to be a time when we call some countries footballing nation, and we say, oh, they are strong at it because they are. Oh, Nigeria is a footballing nation.
When Madagascar even starts,
Brazil is a footballing nation.
Yeah.
See, the truth of the matter is what Nigeria failed to look into. Madagascar and some other countries, even Sudan, a war-torn country for that matter, defeated Nigeria 4 goals to nothing.
Yeah.
And Nigerians will be out there saying, "Oh, Nigeria, the giant of Africa." I don't want to go into that because it's a whole topic on its own. But one thing that I want to quickly elucidate is that when you look at countries like Madagascar, they know that they don't have too much, but they are looking inwardly. They are talking about developing a league of their own. They have, you know, situations where grassroots sports is being encouraged, especially football. And then these players that are being encouraged on the grassroots level, they are being pushed to a level where they can actually represent the national team. Yeah. And, you know, there used to be a time where you see players of Madagascar descent representing countries like France and, you know, and then now, most of them, they are now proud to represent Madagascar.
True.
So that is what you see when they pay attention to details. But in Nigeria, we don't really have how many competitions in Ibadan do you see that is well publicized, that promotes players in the under 9, under 10, except for the fact that when the late sage, Chief Mufulani was still around, was still alive, you know, you have the Mufulani competition like that. You know, there are so many competitions across board where you see, football teams, local football teams playing underage competitions, and then their talents were spotted. But now, it is more or less like Jeon kind of thing. People prefer to play sets on Sundays, and it's no longer we used to see.
Yeah.
So until we go back to the drawing board like we used to have it, I'll give you an instance. Nigeria used to parade array of stars, especially in defense, midfield. You begin to ask yourself questions. Where did they get this kind of players? Players like Rashidi Yekini were discovered somewhere. Stephen Okechukwu Keshi. Some of them were even discovered in secondary schools. I could remember some of them went to St. Phimbas College in Lagos, where there used to be a time when, you know, government college, Apata Ibadan, Loyola College, there was Principal's Cup, Shell Cup.
You will see fantastic academy, you know,
fantastic footballers, at secondary school level.
Yeah, true.
And then their kind of football was so mature that they would walk into any team in the league, and then they will function well because they were exceptional footballers, talented ones at that. Who is doing that now? Where is the Shell Cup that we used to see? Where is the Principal's Cup? They are no longer there. And they are just, if they are there, they are just there by name.
They're just there by name, actually.
So nobody is looking in that direction. That, oh, Nigeria is lacking. And then when there will be under 17 competition, you realize the fact that they are now going to Arsenal Football Academy in London. They are going to Chelsea Academy to pick players to represent Nigeria when there are Nigerians who are talented who live in Nigeria.
Gifted ones at that.
So it will be really unfortunate. And those people will come, they don't even know what it means to play for Nigeria. They just want to play and shine. So when they shine, they get a team and then boom. Yorubas will say, I want to remember that proverb very well. That you know, Igida Yefo, yes, that's what I want to. So when eventually when they get a team, you realize that you know, the NFL will now begin to beg them to represent Nigeria. Why? Because they don't care. They do not understand. There used to be a time that Nigerians will die to play for Nigeria.
True.
because they know they just want to
They
put
just
on
want
the
to
green
put on
white
the
green
green
jersey,
jersey, yeah.
but it's no longer there. The passion is not there. But that is what Madagascar is doing. You see them sweating it out on the field
yeah.
for the shirt,
Come on.
not just for the money, for the shirt. So if anybody thinks Madagascar will go down easily against Morocco in the final, I want to implore you to think again before you put your money where
your mouth is.
Just put your money where your mouth is. It's either you don't do anything than do anything that you will regret.
Okay, so what's your prediction?
Madagascar for the final.
They're going to win?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to be here on Monday to also remind Samson of the predictions. The Chan, Madagascar against Morocco.
Yes, Morocco is good. I'm not taking anything away from them.
Fantastic
Morocco
team.
is a good team.
Yeah.
But I just have, if you look at how the Madagascars play, even when they played against, you realize the fact that, there is no superstar in that team.
No.
Nobody is saying, pass the ball to so-so person. But if you look at the Nigerian team, there's always someone that, the coach wants to shine.
Yeah.
And says, when you have the ball in so-so position, give it to. When there is a player in a particular position that is in a clearer place to actually shoot at goal, I mean, that's not going to work. You had Anas Yusuf, who was the top scorer in the MPFL in your team, and then you are playing a Sikiru Alimi that is gradually being faded out of the Remo Stars team. Why would you bring?
Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to think about it again? Because if you look at the road to the final, they lost 2 games in the group stage.
Yes.
You're just sticking your neck for them.
That still doesn't matter.
You're just sticking your neck for them.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, trust me. The only time I heard of a country called Madagascar was in a movie, and that was a movie in Madagascar. But right now, they're in the final, and Samson Balogun is tipping his neck for them, saying they're going to lift the Chan Trophy against Morocco. What are your predictions for the game between Morocco and Madagascar, or Madagascar and Morocco? Moving away from that, let's talk Formula 1. It's the Dutch Grand Prix right there in Formula 1. Yes, it's going to be a massive one in Formula 1, and that's what we are looking at right now. Let's have that being displayed on the screen. The McLaren boys are the one topping the race right there. You're looking too good for Lewis Hamilton right there. But what do you think is going to happen? Are we seeing the McLaren boys still take a pole position in the Dutch Grand Prix?
You see, when we talk about, Formula 1, there is a lot, at stake. So it's not just about the drivers. It's about the brand. They are all representing. You have McLaren, you have Mercedes, and, the idea is that, your machine helps you as much as you help yourself.
Honestly, I was about saying that.
Now, drivers also, they have very vital inputs.
Yeah, true.
But the truth of the matter is, how good is your machine? And how clinical is your team?
True.
Because sometimes when you do your pit stops to change your tires and the likes, of probably refuel, how fast are these members of the technical crew? So you might as well want to say, the McLaren boys, but how about when Mercedes decides to spring a surprise? How about other
Ferrari
Alpine,
and the likes? Yeah.
So it's we have seen over time we have seen drivers move from one brand to the other. You have seen drivers like Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel moving from one place to the other just because they feel like I think my style suits this team better. But all in all, McLaren have been doing a wonderful job, and you can't take that away from them.
From those drivers.
I just feel like they are going to do excellently well, but I see other brands also doing really better in this
Okay.
the Grand Prix.
Honestly speaking, the only way you can knock out the McLaren boys is to take pole position.
Right.
If you don't take pole position ahead of them, I think is a problem. So let's look at what the weather is saying right there in the Dutch Grand Prix. Yes, on Friday it looks raining. Saturday also, but I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic one right there in Netherlands, and we're expecting wonderful race to kickstart right there, starting from today, where they have the driver constructor standing. Also, they will have to fight for pole position before the final race on Sunday. Now we're hoping that Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, they can come to see how far they can knock out the McLaren boys. Also, Lando Norris also, made a tweet yesterday about Manchester United. He's a Manchester United fan. Saying he wants Manchester United fans to be happy.
It's really a tough time for Man United fans right now.
I just hope that doesn't affect him.
You see, the thing is,
going forward for this.
Sometimes when we talk about psychology, it is not. There are things that works on your things that work on your psychology. There are things you see, things you hear, even things you say or think about by yourself. So it might actually.
Are you serious?
Because sometimes, some people are diehard fans of, teams that when those teams do not perform well, it affects them as a person, affects their psychology.
Have you ever been in such a situation before? Have you been in such a situation before?
Well, I have not been because, the truth is, when you watch football as a football lover, it is different. And when you watch football as as a fan, it is different. Okay. So sometimes it gets to you more as a fan. It gets to you more as a fan, but then you walk past it as a football lover because it's not just your joy is not limited to one thing. You are always looking for teams that plays the best kind of football or a certain player in one team that you want to see perform, things like that. So it's not you are not limited to one place as a football lover. So I just want to believe that this doesn't affect him. I want to see him as a lover of football and not just of Manchester United.
All right, that's coming through from the Dutch Grand Prix right there in Formula One. I trust us will be back here on Monday to give you that update about that. Let's move away from that. Let's look at the US Open. Yes, still very much ongoing. That's Jason against Kopoli. Kopoli is through to the next round 3 of the US Open. The first set 7-5, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2, 7-6 at Fort Bottle right there at game 5. Moving away from that, let's take more stories in the US Open. Yes, Kachanov, losing out. Yes, World number 9, Kachanov is out against Kamin. Yes, Matjak, and that one 6-2, 7-6, 6-4, 7-5, 7-6. He had to do that one through games 3. Also, Yannick Sinner also through against Poporin 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. To say that one out, that is Yannick Sinner, the defending champion. Also, Naomi Osaka, also 6-3, 6-1 against Baptista in round 2 of the US Open. Also, Rublev also through 6-3, 6-3, 7-5, 7-6. Game 4 is through to the next round of the US Open. Yes, sir. Moving away from the US Open quickly, Iga Swiatek also, World number 2, 6-1, 6-4, 6-4. She's also through to the next round of the US Open. Let's move away from the US Open. Let's take stories from the Champions League. I was discussing with you about the new time, the change in new time, saying they want everybody to come watch the game, plus the children, plus the moms, plus the dad, so that, when they're done with football, they can all go back home safe and sound. But right now, the time is changed. It's 6 p.m. For the final of the UEFA Champions League. That's the time for the UEFA Champions League final. But let's look at the group stage draw. Let's look at the draw right here. PSG fans are complaining that last season they had a difficult one. Again, they're having a difficult run. They have Bayern Munich, they have FC Barcelona, Atlanta, Bayern Leverkusen, Tottenham Hotspur, Sporting, Newcastle, Athletic Bilbao.
Well, if PSG are saying they had a difficult one last season, and they ended up in the final. I don't think that is correct. I just want to believe that. Sometimes teams just want to put something on the paper for people to read out there. So I do not believe that. Every team that qualifies for the UEFA Champions League qualified for a reason. They qualified because they are qualified to be there. So I don't want to believe, a particular group is difficult than the other. I mean, they were not unpicked. It's not like someone suggested, let's put this here. It was a draw. And you got what so they are working with this because of the name of some teams. For example, you think, certain team, oh, is a big team by name.
But actually,
last season, it's not like they performed that well. They only qualified from certain positions.
Yeah, but actually, looking at this group, you see PSG, looking at their group, it's quite difficult for them. These teams are not small teams that you can just run over. You look at Bayern Munich, you look at FC Barcelona, Atlanta. I know you come back to Chelsea also having difficult games also. You see Madrid also having Man City, having Liverpool, Juventus, Benfica, Olympique Marseille, Monaco, Olympic. Come on, you look at all that things, Man City, FC Barcelona, also Liverpool. Big games.
You see, these are reasons why the format for the UEFA Champions League was changed, because it was going to accommodate more big teams, and if you are going to earn more, you have to work more. That's what this means.
I like that.
If PSG are saying, look, we have a difficult run, you were in the final, you earned the money, you played the Club World Cup final against Chelsea, you lost, yes, but then that's because you deserve to be in the final. So we want to believe that everything here they qualify for the competition, and nobody handpicked anything to be in any group. Nobody. So it was a draw, and you were there when this draw was made.
Yeah, so
I don't think.
So why did you voice out, Abi?
You should have said, "Oh, let's just start all over again." But unfortunately, that's impossible.
Yeah.
And it's no joke. This season is going to be more difficult than it was last season, because most of these teams are some of these teams were not there last season. They will get used to the new format, and they might not really get used to it until next season. So PSG are used to it. They were in the final. They won the UEFA Champions League. So I want to believe that it's just for the sake of let's put something out there.
Okay. All that teams in Tottenham, Napoli, Olympique Marseille, PSV, Ajax, and Sporting. These are the teams and their draws are right there in the Champions League. Also, you see Olympiacos, Newcastle, Galatasaray, Arsenal, all in the group for the UEFA Champions League. Moving away from that, let's take the fixtures for this weekend in the Premier League. There you have Crystal Palace. Qualified for the first time in European competition, also right there in the Conference League. Fantastic one for Crystal Palace, right there, a big one. And we hope that their captain Mark Guay still remains in the team. You remember Eberechi Eze out, Michael Olise out, Ismail Assassin in the team. So they need their key players doing the battle for them right there. There you have Alejandro Garnacho. The man already set for medical today at Chelsea. What do you think this man can bring to the system for Enzo Maresca and Chelsea Football Club at large?
Honestly, if you ask me, I would have loved if Chelsea signed him before they got Jimmy Gittins from Borussia Dortmund. Because I think he's a more matured player. He's goal-oriented, and he brings something different to what we currently have in the Chelsea wings. Last season, as far as Manchester United fans would want to paint him, he had double assist and double digit assist, and of course, a double digits for goals. I think 11, 10 or thereabout. So, a player that brings a combination of 21 goals plus assists in a single season while playing from the wing, not even a center forward. I mean, it brings a quality into that team, and I just hope that he gets rejuvenated, gets acclimatized into the team, and then brings out the best coming into a new team at Chelsea. I mean, for a player like Garnacho, it's a player that I would have loved Manchester United to retain, but there is too much negativity going on in that team. When you look at, there were a lot of players that were sent packing from that Manchester United team, and they got to another team, and they didn't just go to a team; they went to great teams. Marcus Rashford was also pushed out, and for me, he plays for Barcelona now. He was in the starting 11 in their last game, so that tells you something. Garnacho has been moved to Chelsea. Not just Garnacho. I mean, what do we call
Sancho?
him? Sancho too.
It looks like a man out of the squad.
A man out of the squad. Anthony was moved to Real Betis last season, and was for Real Betis. I was asking myself, is this guy this poor? And you see what he did. It was more or less the focal point for the team.
And you'll be wondering, is it Manchester United or the player? So
it's that's why I said it's a combination of Manchester United, the coach, the players. Because see, you can't. I cited an instance. There was a time Chelsea won the UEFA Champions League, and Roberto Di Matteo was brought on board to replace Andre Villas-Boas in that team. what happened? It was Villas-Boas that said, look, the old players, they are long gone, they are past their, their
prime.
and then they are not going to be part of my team. And then these players were still in the team. So he started playing the young players, fine. Yeah. The old players were sitting there. But when the bad results started coming in, Chelsea panicked. And they sacked Villas-Boas, brought in Roberto Di Matteo to just steady the ship until, the end of the season. But guess what? With the same team that Villas-Boas said, they were past their prime, Didier Drogba, John Terry, Florent Malouda, Frank Lampard. These are quality players. I think Joe Nobi Mikel too. This same set of players went on to win the UEFA Champions League.
Yes.
They overturned the deficit of 3-1 against Napoli, which Villas-Boas left, and then won the next leg, and then went ahead to win the UEFA Champions League final. So what I'm trying to say is, as a coach, you don't just come into a team and condemn all the players you met in the team, because these are players that know the tradition. So if you are saying, they are no longer good, you want to bring new players, don't forget you cannot bring 35 players at once.
Yeah, true.
You bring them in batches. And before you are able to bring all the players you need, you might lose the dressing room. And that's what is happening to Ruben Amorim right now. He said something just after the game against Grimsby. He said the players spoke loud about what they wanted now. He's already feeling the heat that these players don't want me. So if you have a team of 35 players and only about 10 of them really are interested in you as a coach, and if you count all those 10 players, so majority of them are the players he brought on board, and just a few of them, maybe Captain Harry Maguire, who gives his all whenever he's called upon, and just a few of them that are really interested in the coach. But the truth of the matter is, you don't just throw the team away. But going into the current situation, you realize the fact that, well, going forward, we do hope that Manchester United will be able to, steady the ship, just like Chelsea did.
All right. The weekend is upon us in the Premier League, where you have Chelsea, against Fulham, early kickoff. We have Wolves against Everton. We have Tottenham. We have Manchester United against Burnley, Sunderland against Brentford, Leeds against Newcastle on Sunday. Super Sunday, Brighton against Manchester City, Nottingham Forest against the wounded Graham Potter, West Ham, Liverpool against Aston, the big showdown, and Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. Yes, before we go, and you are just going to talk within a few seconds about Liverpool and Arsenal, just few seconds. But let me give you breaking news that Jose Mourinho has been sacked already by Fenerbahce. He failed to qualify them for the UEFA Champions League. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of come on, it's not looking too good for every. So maybe some people are asking, is this a sign? Are they coming back to Manchester United? Is the question, but we hope not.
Don't be surprised if Jose Mourinho is back.
Come on, quickly, Sam. I'm not going to allow you to talk on that. You're going to talk on Liverpool and Arsenal shortly, quickly.
Well, it will be a battle of the midfield. Arsenal, their recent recruits, Zubimendi and the likes, might have a lot to handle when playing against Ryan Gravenberch and the Liverpool midfield, Alexis McAllister, the Szoboszlai, and the host of others. But then it will most likely be a battle of the midfield. But whoever scores first, because I don't see Liverpool conceding too many goals against Arsenal, but whoever scores first might just, carry the day.
So your prediction?
My prediction, I think Liverpool to win against Arsenal.
So there we have it. Madagascar for Samson, Liverpool for Samson. So we'll be back here on Monday to review the final. The final result for the weekend. That's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning right here on Dominion Sport on your darling station. That's Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Samson, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, it was really nice to be here. We'll meet again on Monday to dissect results over the weekend.
All right. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.